Okay, so we're going to use this atomic structure worksheet to practice atomic structure. This will be how I will assess you on a quiz, possibly even a test, just depending on what we're doing this year in class. So for now, we need to talk about the fact that we know APE. APE stands for atomic, let me get my pen working, atomic, protons, and electrons. APE, that spells the word APE. So we know all three of those are the same if you have a neutral atom. So now, in order to know if we have a neutral atom, we need to see if there's a symbol. Right now we can't tell there's a neutral atom technically, but we will know that no matter what, whether it's neutral or charged, this shows a charge of a 1 minus. This one doesn't have anything here, so it is a 0 or neutral charge. So this -1, or if there was a positive something or a negative something here, tells us that our protons and electrons will not be equal. Any other time, if it's neutral, this one's neutral because there's no charge there, so we automatically know our protons and electrons will be equal. So atomic and protons are always equal no matter what, and sometimes all three are equal if you have a neutral atom. Okay, so let's look at some examples when we do and do not have neutral atoms. If we have a neutral atom, it's still called an atom. If we have something that is a plus or minus charge, it's referred to as an ion. So let's start with this example. So we have 76 for an atomic number, which automatically we know that it has 76 protons. Now, we also can figure out the mass number by taking protons plus neutrons. That formula will not be given to you. You have to memorize it. So we're going to take 117 plus 76. Doesn't matter what order we add those because they're both going to be positive numbers, but we're going to add those up and get 193 here for our mass number. Okay, so now we have many places filled out. We have more things to do here. Basically on this grid, I will give you everything you need if you have a periodic table to complete the missing pieces. So now we're going to figure out who the element is. Officially, the atomic number tells us who it is, but remember that atomic and protons are always the same. So I can either use the atomic number or the protons to determine who the element is. So we need to look at a periodic table. So here we go. This top number here is the atomic number. Okay, so this top number is the atomic number. This bottom number is something called the average atomic mass. It is not the mass number. It is not the mass number. Should be close to the mass number, but these numbers are not mass numbers. Those can only be gotten or achieved by adding protons plus neutrons. So we're going to search for element 76. We're going to see element 76 right here. And that's because that atomic tells us. So we know we have osmium. So back to our grid. We're going to put OS here. And then we're going to put the two numbers in. And remember that these two numbers are Miss America. To help you remember Miss America, that means mass, Miss America, atomic number on the bottom. And now because I have 76 protons and 76 electrons, this is what we consider a neutral atom or an atom. Okay, so we won't have any plus or minus there because they're the same. So then we're going to finish up the element name, and we're going to spell it out, put a dash, and then the mass number. So this number here is always the mass number. Okay, looking at the next example, we have all of this. Remember, Miss America, so we know 9 for atomic number, and we always know protons are the same. We know 19 for mass number, Miss America, and this time to get neutrons I can subtract. So one way to get neutrons, if you're not given to them, is you can take mass minus protons. So we're going to take 19 minus 9, and we're going to say that we have 10 neutrons. Okay, we know this is fluorine. How would I know? I'd go back to my periodic table, and I'd find fluorine as it has an F. Okay? All right, so then we're going to do fluorine-19. And the last thing we have is the electrons to fill out. So now what I'm looking for is I have a -1. So if I have a -1, that means I have one more negative charge than positives. That's how it's a minus, because I have more negatives than positives by 1. So if I have 9 protons, I can use the atomic number, but we really should be using the protons, although they'd be the same. So if we have 9 protons, I have to have one more electron than protons for it to be negative. Why? Because it's a -1. And remember, electrons are negatively charged. So in this case, we have 10 electrons. Okay, looking at the next example, we have 34 protons, so we know for sure we have 34 atomic number. I can get the mass number by taking 78 minus 34, and I believe that's 44. We're going to subtract those. Okay, and then we can look up who it is by the atomic number, or protons. So we're going to go find element 34 in our periodic table, and as we come across, we see it's this one, selenium. So we're going to do SELENIUM-78. Remember, the number after the dash is the mass. So we're going to do SE, Miss America, mass number on top, and atomic number on the bottom. Okay. All right. So now we're going to decide if it has a charge or not. Well, notice here we have 36 electrons and 34 protons. So the charge determines which we have more of. We have, by 2, we have more electrons. So that's going to be a 2 minus charge or a minus 2 charge. Okay, looking at example 4, we have a mass number of 12 and 6 protons. If we have 6 protons, we know we have 6 electrons. My neutrons are going to be 12 minus 6, which is 6. You don't have to show the math. I'm just doing that to help you remind you. And then we're going to see who this is. We look up element 6. I see element 6 is carbon. So this is going to be carbon dash 12, C. And then we're going to have Miss America, so 12, 6. And then because my protons and my electrons are the same, it's going to have a neutral charge or no charge. Okay, going on to the next one. We have atomic number of 35. Remember, Miss America, so 35. America's on the bottom, atomic. 80 for the mass number. We know the protons are also 35. And because there's no plus or minus here, we automatically know the electrons are 35. To get that, to get the neutrons, we're going to take 80 minus 35. And just a second here. Okay, pardon me, I'm back now. Then this is 45. There, my pen's finally working. And this is going to be bromine dash 80. Let's try that again. Dash 80. A little bit better. Okay, so last problem we're going to do together is this one. We have 6 for the atomic number, so we have 6 protons. Mass number is going to be, remember, mass number is protons plus neutrons, doesn't matter what order you add them. So that's 14. We're going to look for element 6. We already know element 6 is carbon, so this is carbon dash 14. Later on, we're going to learn that these two are isotopes of each other, but we'll deal with that in a few days. So we're going to do carbon 6 and 14 on top. So Miss America, 14 is the mass number, Miss, 6 is the atomic number, America. Okay, so I just wanted to say that if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Look for the weekly agenda to see what you're going to do. Most likely we finish this for homework in class, but double check the agenda depending on the year and what's going on. Have a great one. Reach out if you need some help.